Welcome to F1 Sports, where passion meets precision. As I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. And I'm going to get started right away with the TNA. Well, in this podcast episode 65 of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed, I'm going to be talking about TNA Victory Road. I'll start with that, then transition into takeaways from the Game 3 story played last night at the conference finals for the WNBA playoffs. Then talk about the 3-0 Colts and if they're a legit team or not. And then talk about a new thing I'm doing called Zips Update, where I talk a little bit about Akron sports and how their teams have been doing. So to start with TNA Victory Road, like I said in my title, it was legacy defining because this was certainly a show. It was a decent show. It was I give it an 8.5 out of 10. This was a really good event. Last big event before Bound for Glory, which is coming up soon. But yeah, I enjoyed this, and this was a great event. And I'm just getting some pulled up right quick. So now, okay. And because I tuned in about an hour late to the event, so I rewatched the first hour this morning. So as far for the first hour of the show, where's this? Oh, it started with the Great Hands, because I ain't watched the pre-show, but it started with the system taking on Order 4. It was the Great Hands and Agent Zero who made his in-ring debut as part of Order 4 taking on JDC, Brian Myers, and Eddie Edwards from the system. This was a good match. Agent Zero looked solid in his debut. It's a good way for them to get chemistry in the ring before their hardcore war match, which is taking place in 2 weeks at Bound for Glory. This was a good match, good way to get the show started. The system ended up getting the win. JDC got the pin. He pinned one of the Great Hands. It was a good match to get the show started. Basic, nothing too crazy. And then following that, he got a very emotional promo by Ash by Elegance, letting everybody know that she had to relinquish the TNA Knockouts championship because of an injury. And that was just unfortunate news to hear. So she had to give up the Knockout Championship. Santino Marella, Carlos Silva, they were both out there, and she made the announcement. And then Santino announced it would be a battle royal, and the last two of that battle royal would compete later in the night to determine the next TNA Knockout champion. So probably around 20 women in there. It was multiple tag teams. It was 3 or 4 tag teams in that match. Like the promo was very emotional, so they pushed back the tag team match for the Elegance brand. So the Elegance brand and Inspiration, their match for the Knockouts tag titles is going to take place this Thursday on Impact. So yeah, but the Battle Royal, like I said, the Battle Royal was good. There was multiple tag teams in there. Danny Luna, she tried to establish herself as a threat, but everybody jumped her. And then Danny Luna and Jody Threat, they went after a little bit, former tag team partners. And then the way it ended, it was the Elegance brand and Inspiration both fighting to eliminate each other. Then Lei Ching Lee and Lei Ching Lee and Kalani Jordan, they eliminated all 4 women. They both took 2 out instead of battling, not paying attention to their surroundings. So Kalani Jordan and Lei Ching Lee were the last 2 standing. And that ended up, so because of that, it was, since they were the last 2, and they were later on in the show would fight in a one-on-one match, battle in a one-on-one match to determine the next TNA Knockouts champion. So following that, you had the Nemeth brothers taking on Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man. And actually, back to the Battle Royal real quick, she was the only, Kalani Jordan was the only knockout there. She was the only NXT woman there, which I found very interesting that it was pretty obvious she was going to be one of the last 2, her being the only woman from NXT. And then Indy Hartwell was a special guest referee. And that was always the plan because her title shot is at Bound for Glory. So they keeping Indy's big moment there. But with how the result played out later, I don't know if Indy Hartwell is going to get that win. But I'll get back to that later into the recap. But then you had the Nemeth brothers taking on Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man. This was a good match. It was basic. It's not like it did a lot. Like it wasn't a bad match. It was a decent tag team match. Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man got the win. This was the Hometown Man's 8th straight win in TNA. Obviously, it's Cody Deaner and Mask, and the the commentators aren't even playing to the gimmick no more. They're just like, this is Cody Deaner. It's pretty obvious. There's nothing about him. The only difference is the mask. That Santino is the only one that can't see it for some reason. So that's what that. So that's that. And then you have Mike Santana taking on Ridge Holland following that. And this is where I tuned in. This is where I finally able to watch the show live. I tuned into this match, see how that was going. I didn't even know that match was on the card. But this was a good match. Ridge Holland looked good. There was no botches in the match. Mike Santana ended up getting the win. And then Trick attacked him post-match. And so far, up to here, like, it's been a good show. Obviously, aside from the emotional promo, which sucks that Ash had to relinquish the title. But up to there, it was like this event was going really well. And then I say once it got to the Moose versus Mustafa Ali match, this was a great match. Moose was dominating early on. He brushed off a few shots from Ali. Ali was able to gain some momentum. But Ali, when he was getting pinned, he got his foot on the ropes, which to Moose's surprise, and the referee caught it last second. And then Ali dropped Moose's spine first on the steel steps when he was running after him on the outside of the ring. So that's one of the momentum in the match, and was how Ali was able to get back into it and make this match competitive. And then Ali ended up it was Ali's dancer Stacey surrounded the ring that came out with him, and Tasha Steelz replaced one of the dancers and dressed up because the system in order for both being from ringside. But it was still shenanigans in the match, which I found stupid because it's an advantage match to see who get the advantage in Hardcore War. Just make it a clean match. Don't have Tasha Steelz dress up with somebody else so she can get involved in the match. And just make Moose win clean. Ali, even if he wins not so clean, have him put his foot on the ropes or something. Don't have it be an interference because that's how he ends up losing. Like, what's the point of it being an interference? Just like it's something the ref can't see, but there's no point in doing that because Tasha Steelz dressed up as one of the dancers with low blow Moose. And then Ali was able to get the win off of that. It was a great match, but the ending was just terrible. Then you had Eric Young taking on Joe Hendry. He cut a promo saying that Joe Hendry wouldn't be here, saying that he got rid of him. Then as soon as he said his name, Joe Hendry appeared. They had the one-on-one match, solid back and forth. Eric Young applied this chokehold, which was looked really painful. Joe Hendry did a great job selling it. But then the Northern Armory came out there late into the match and ended up helping Joe Hendry win. It was more than one revenge against Eric Young, but they could have waited till a post-match because why would Joe Hendry need help from the Northern Armory to get a win? This guy was just world champion for 5 or 6 months this year, and he needs help from the Northern Armory to get a win. That don't make sense to me. And then really from there on, it's like the rest of the show, it went pretty well. Because it was really up to this point, those were the only things I had problems with. Because AJ Francis and Matt Hardy had a tables match. I ain't watched the pre-show, so I ain't see the segment that they had on there. But I know that that's what it stemmed from. And then they had a tables match. Matt Hardy getting prepared for the tables match that he has to have with his brother against the Dudleys in 2 weeks. And this was a good match. Matt ended up getting the win. Of course, he was going to get the win. He did a leg drop to AJ Francis through the table. Solid match. Not too much to take from this. I don't really see the point of this match because that this was going to have, if it was really a point, they could have had Rich Swann be there, have Jeff be there. But I think this is just, like I said, I ain't see the penthouse segment AJ Francis did on the kickoff show because I was at work, so I couldn't watch the kickoff show. But yeah, it was a solid match. And then the women's the Knockouts Championship match. I don't know why this took place before Steve Maclin and Frankie's match. Actually, I'm gonna come back to that. That happened next, but I'm gonna talk about Steve Maclin versus and Frankie Kazarian because I just wasn't interested in this match. It was all right, but then you had a guy from AAA make Steve Maclin lose, and that's how Frankie wins the international title. That's what I also had a problem with, so that didn't really matter. So mid. And then I'm gonna talk about the main event before I talk about the main event, then I'm gonna talk about the Lonnie Jordan match. Main event, Leon Slater defending the X Division Championship against Myron Reed. And this was a good match. It was some high flying moves. They both did a great job in this match. Very enjoyable, good main event. The only thing I didn't like was Marvin Reed. He had like a back injury that he suffered in the match, like in kayfabe, and he wasn't really selling it. Like he could have did a better job of selling his back being hurt because he was holding on. He held on to it for a little bit, but I felt like he could have just did a better job of selling that. But aside from that, this match was pretty clean. Now Leon Slater almost overshot on the I forget the name of the move when he go over the ring post. He oversold that a little bit. He could have did a little better on that. But aside from that, this was a good match. And then after Leon Slater retained, Santino announced that at Bound for Glory, he'll be defending his title against Javon Evans, which is a match that everybody's been waiting for. A lot of people have been wanting this match between the two young high-flying guys, Javon Evans and Leon Slater. So we're gonna get that October 12th at Bound for Glory. I'm excited for that. That should be a very fun match. Then Kalani Jordan taking on Lei Ching Lee. Great match. Indy Hartwell did a great job as referee. TNA is getting fucked in this partnership. It's no other way to put it. Like TNA, they're getting done dirty. Like it started off with a show of respect between all three women. Indy patted both of them down to make sure they wasn't hiding anything. Then Lei Ching Lee and Kalani Jordan, they shook hands. They just got straight to action. Like I said, there was some cool spots in this. Indy was calling them down the middle from start to finish. She didn't have no bias towards anybody. She even said in the promo she cut Lei Ching Lee and Kalani. They went 4-on-4 for a little bit. Mid match they did with handshakes again. It was the leg drop that Lei Ching Lee did, which was followed by a high knee to the face. Kalani Jordan. Then you had multiple pinfall attempts between the two, and then it calmed down a little bit. Kalani was in she did the flipping back elbow, which is really very impressive because she only has to. It's kind of similar to like the move Charlotte does, but Charlotte stops when she does it. Like Kalani is fully in sync when she does that move, and I think it's just, and it could be because Kalani is smaller, like she's shorter than Charlotte, so it might be easier for her to do that in rotation with Charlotte when she has to stop, because Charlotte can't do that move when it comes to certain people. And then Lei Ching Lee had a crossface locked in, and Kalani turned that into a pin. And then where the match turned is when Kalani went for the. There was multiple spots where Indy almost got hit on accident, not unintentional. And then Kalani, she hit the one of a kind, but Lei Ching Lee got out the way, and Indy Hartwell was there unfortunately. So she caught Indy Hartwell. Lei Ching Lee hit her move, pin Kalani Jordan, had her down really to about an 8 or 9 count before Indy was able to gain confidence again and make the count. But Kalani was able to kick out at 2 because of the fact that she was down for so long. And then Kalani was finally able to hit the one of a kind on the right person, being Lei Ching Lee, and she would get the win. Ash by Elegance came out there to congratulate her, and she walked to the back. Indy Hartwell and stared her down. It was pure respect between the two. Carlos Silva handed over the title to Kalani Jordan. Now she's the TNA Knockouts champion. I already made a short about it. I don't know what this leads to, because now it's Kalani Jordan and Indy Hartwell on October 12th. But I don't see Kalani just holding the title for 2 weeks. Now Kalani has accomplished something that not many other women in NXT can say aside from JC Jane, and that's winning the World Championship. So congratulations to her. And this match was great. Like I said, the spot made sense. It was very obvious, but it is what it is. But like I said, I get a pay-per-view of 8.5 out of 10. It was a very good special event. It was a very good event, in my opinion. Now let's takeaways from game 3 of the second round. For the Fever and Aces game, this one is Chelsea Mitchell really struggled. I was surprised by how much she struggled. The Aces won 84-72 in this game, and this was a good. Both games I enjoyed, but I think this one, it was really that fourth quarter where the Aces turned the tables. It was really that fourth quarter. Like they got outscored by 9, and the Fever got outscored by 9 in the fourth quarter, and Chelsea Mitchell was forcing a lot of shots. Like she finished the game with 21 points, but she did that going 8 of 26 from the field. There was 3 women in the starting lineup that shot better than that. Then Odyssey Sims, she went 0-7, and people were talking about how she's so much better than Caitlin Clark. And she had 2 points and 2 assists and went 0 of 7 from the field. So Aaliyah Boston went 5 of 16. So you have 3 of your 5 starters shooting under 35%. You're not finna win a game. That's just not finna happen. Like that don't make sense. And Aja Wilson struggled in this game as well. But Aja Wilson had 13 points on 6 of 20 from the field, just 30%. And the Aces still found a way to win because they had Jackie Young put up 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists on 9 of 14 from the field. Made all 6 free throws. They got 15 points from the bench, which is much needed. And then it was a little bit of bench production from Indiana, but it wasn't the best because Powers and Turner, they gave you 20 minutes combined and gave you 3 points and only gave you 1 assist. They got Turner got you some rebounds. Turner and Timpson got the rebounds. Petty and Powers, they combined for 3 rebounds in 21 minutes. Like this, and this was the first game that Indiana was at home. This was game 3. So they have a chance in the next game, but it's like if you hold Aja Wilson to 13 points and you still can't win, you might as well give up. But they had chances. They just weren't able to capitalize. Like Lexi Hull, she had a great game, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 60% from the field, 50% from 3, made 1 out of 2 free throws, but that second free throw wouldn't matter, to be honest. If she made or missed that free throw, it wouldn't have mattered. And then the Mercury, the Mercury got the Lynx on the ropes. Their big 3 all scored 20 plus, and the Lynx are desperately missing Dajane Carrington because without her defense, you don't have her guarding Copper. You could have easily put her on Khalil Copper. She wouldn't shut her down per se, but she definitely would have slowed her down a little bit. Like she wouldn't be able to do some of the stuff she's doing now. Like Sabali is giving you 23, Thompson's giving you 21, Copper's giving you 21. You don't need the rest of the team to do nothing because that's what the team did. The rest of the team did nothing. Now her rookie who's in the starting lineup, she had a solid all-around game, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 of 7 from the field. I'll be forgetting, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she's the rookie for the Phoenix Mercury. She's been having a good year, so I enjoyed what she was able to do. And it's not like they got a crazy amount of bench production scoring-wise. Like they did a good job facilitating and getting rebounds. They didn't get much scoring after they benched Phoenix. While the Lynx were able to get that, they got the bench production that they needed, but the starters didn't do anything. Alana Smith at just 11 minutes played. And then you had McBride give you 12 points on 3 of 10 from the field. Bridget Carlton went 2 of 7. 3 of 7 would have been better. She went 2 of 7. So the Lynx weren't able to get anything done. It's like, wow. Nafisa Collier, she went 8 of 15. Then she got hurt late in that 4th quarter, but she was only able to give you 17, and she didn't get to the free throw line once in this game. You're not finna win a game if she can only get to the free throw line once. It's just not possible for the Lynx to win a game like that. Nafisa Collier has to get to the line. She got to put more pressure on the rim. Because it was really just the Fee and Courtney Williams show. And really, Courtney Williams, she still didn't have the greatest game. She shot 37% from the field. And she didn't get to the free throw line either. If anything, Natisha Hydeman, what she was able to do off the bench was very impressive, giving them 19 points just to stay in the game. She's the reason why they stayed in this, aside from Nafisa Collier in the starting lineup. Hydeman came off the bench and gave them 19, and they still lost. Like that's the type of production you've been looking for in this series, and you got that, and you lost that game. So, and then game 4 is on this Sunday. It's tomorrow. I think the Aces gonna wrap it up versus the Fever. I think the Aces gonna get it done, winning 4. But I think Minnesota's gonna tie it, send it into a game 5 for Tuesday, sending it to that last game. I see the Lynx winning. I don't see them losing 3 straight times. That's not gonna happen. But those are my takeaways from game 3s. But all right, the Indianapolis Colts are 3-0 Colts, a legit team. Man, I don't know what to say about the I'm looking for something. But the Colts are 3-0. Week 1 they won against the Dolphins. They won against the Dolphins week 1. in a game that they look very good in. Like they forced Tua to throw 2 interceptions and only have 114 yards. Held Devon Achane to just 55 rushing yards, and nobody else was able to get 10 on that team. Nobody else was able to get 10 rushing yards. And like I thought this was a fluke. It's just because it's just week one. Daniel Jones 272 yards, 1 touchdown, and obviously Jonathan Taylor is great. Everybody knows that he's one of the top backs in the league. But it's like just, and even though their schedule may be weaker, a win at the end of the day, these teams aren't picking their schedule. So they're getting the wins, and they're doing it in a good fashion, too. Like, they're dominating these games that they've been in. Jonathan Taylor's 18 carries, 71 yards. Daniel Jones, the first week of the season, 22 or 29. And then 13 of those went to Warren and Pittman. And Tyler Warren is their rookie tight end from Penn State. Tyler Warren went to Penn State. So they got him in the first round, which was really amazing. So doing that was impressive versus the Dolphins week one. And then week two, the comeback win against the Broncos, who are one of the best defenses from last season, a former playoff team. Bo Nix had an interception in this game. Now, J.K. Dobbins, he went off. He had 76, not went off, but he had a better game than what Devon Achane did the previous week. And Troy Franklin, he had 8 catches for 89 yards. This was a more high-scoring game, especially for the Broncos standards. The Broncos losing 29-28 on a field goal, and it's just the Broncos have played undisciplined football all year, which is why they're 1-2. The Broncos should be 3-0, but Bo Nix has not looked great, and they've been playing undisciplined football, getting unnecessary penalties that are costing them games. Like at the end of the day, and they're lucky that they had a tiebreaker over the Chiefs at the moment, because if the Chiefs get on a roll and the Broncos continue to look like this, they won't be in the playoffs again. But the Broncos, undisciplined football is holding them back from having a 3-0 record at this point in the season. But Daniel Jones throwing 316 yards against the Broncos, who was the top one of, if not the top defense last year, definitely the top one in the AFC last year, a playoff team that was led by their defense. And then Daniel Jones doing that, 23 of 34, 316 yards and a touchdown. Then he got a rushing touchdown, too. He had 6 carries for 2 yards somehow. But Jonathan Taylor went off. 25 carries for 165 yards, a 6.6 average. And then Tyler Warren, another good game. 4 catches, 70 yards, 79 yards. And so Tyler Warren has been doing his thing. And then it was the game they just won, which was against the Titans division rival. Just dominated them 41-20. Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, they all had great games. It's like this team looks legit. They're 3-0 and they have 2 dominant wins. And then one was a comeback win against a playoff team from last year. It's like, man, this team might be legit. This team is legit. I don't know what else. Like, are they a playoff team? The Colts might be a playoff team 3 weeks into the season. Like, statistically, they literally are, but I think they could make the playoffs. With how well they've been playing these first 3 weeks, like, there's a world where they win this division and they go to the playoffs. They play the Rams tomorrow, so that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be their most important game of the season. They're 3-0, have a relatively weak schedule, but have beaten the playoff team already. So this is the second playoff team the Colts are playing in 4 weeks. Let's see how they do in this game tomorrow. Because I don't know if I have an answer yet. I like what the Colts are doing. It's been impressive. Jonathan Taylor looks like an offensive player of the year candidate. Tyler Warren is having a good rookie season so far. I don't know what to say. The defense looks good. They're dominating opponents. Man, this is amazing. All right. Zips update. So this is a new thing I'm starting. And for Zips update, I'm going to be just talking about Akron Sports and how they're doing. Because the football team isn't doing so well because the football team, they just got a win finally last week. They won, they beat the Queens 51-7. Beating the Queens, Akron's schedule is weak as hell. But they play a lot of, it makes sense they play a lot of Ohio teams, but then they really don't got to travel that far most of the time. So they did have to go to Nebraska. But they lost the first week to Wyoming 10-0. They couldn't even get a field goal in a game where they only gave up 10 points. That was a good game from the defense. And then like they just won 51-7. So that was another good game for their defense within these 2 weeks. But the Queens had 2 quarterbacks. Damn. That's like they're using multiple different quarterbacks, even in a 51. I mean, it was a 51-7 blowout, so it makes sense. But one quarterback went 0-5 when he got in the game. The starting quarterback, he had 2 touchdowns and an interception, 219 yards. Jordan Grant had 161 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. So he had an amazing game against the Queens, and they finally got their first win of the season. The Queens is also 1-3, so it's not like they beat anybody legit, but they lost to UAB a few weeks ago and they sent them to 0-3. So, and then Jordan Grant, he had 67 yards that game, but UAB, it's not even they gave up 341 yards in the air in that game. Like this, they are not looking great. They're 1-3. Then volleyball isn't doing too well either. I don't have no soccer updates right now. I'm gonna have to get into that next week. But volleyball didn't look too great last night. Delaney Gash, she had 26 kills, 48 total attacks, 15 digs, and 26.5 points, and she looked great. But aside from that, they lost in 4 sets. They gave up a 10-point lead in one of those sets, which I think they ended up coming back in and winning. Now they ended up winning that despite giving up the 10-point lead, but they lost in 4 sets, so it's not looking good for Akron so far. So Akron sports is doing all right. It's not looking terrible, but it's not doing amazing either. So I'm gonna have to dive deeper into it and provide some more. But that's just kind of the basis of what it's gonna look like. So I'll be doing that more consistently on my pod. But Akron volleyball, they fell to 7-6, and they're 0-2 in the conference. So they lost conference games on back-to-back nights. And Ball State had a back-to-back as well, and they're 2-1 in the conference now. They're both in the MAC conference. So this was the second straight win for Ball State. Well, second in the conference. They're 6-8 now, which Akron still has to better record, but they just lost to a team that isn't doing great. And then the women's soccer game, they lost one of their most recent games as well. That last week, it was the last week they lost in a really embarrassing fashion. But once Akron plays today, so I might check out that game. They play Toledo, so I'm gonna check that out so I can provide some more coverage. They got a soccer game on Sunday, so I'm gonna be paying attention to that. And then next week, this segment will be a bit longer. This way, it'll allow me to cover as many sports as possible. So tune back in next week for a Zips update, and then for the I gotta scroll up. Last segment of that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, there it goes. Athletes of the week. For the WNBA, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go Alyssa Thomas for athletes of the week for the WNBA. She's had so far in this 3-game series, the Mercury are leading 2-1, 3 games in, and Alyssa Thomas has looked great in game 1, 18 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 steals. Game 2, 19 points, 13 assists with 8 rebounds. Game 3, 21 points, 5 steals, 8 assists, 9 rebounds. Defense has been great. Just looked amazing on both ends of the ball. She's a combined 10-14 from the free throw line. And then she's been efficient. 2 games shooting 50% or better from the field. Just one where she shot 40%. So Alyssa Thomas has looked great and looked like the MVP candidate that she was this year, and had the best series so far out of the Mercury. But Kalia Copper and Satusa Bali did their thing as well. For the WWE, I went with Stephanie Victory, won the Women's World Heavyweight Championship at WrestlePalooza. Then her promo on Raw that followed that was good in my opinion. For TNA, I went with the newly crowned Knockouts champion last night from Victory Road, Kalani Jordan. For AEW, I went with Chris Statlander, newly crowned AEW Women's World Champion at All Out. For the NFL, I went with David Montgomery in Week 3 last week on Monday Night Football. had 12 carries, 151 yards, 12.5 average, and 2 touchdowns, and the Lions 38-31 win against the Ravens. For volleyball, college volleyball specifically, I went with Carson Tyler, because she had 20 kills and 8 digs to lead Ball State to a win versus Akron Zips last night in the volleyball game. Then for college football, I went with Steve Angela from, might be pronouncing his last name wrong, but he's the starting quarterback for Syracuse. He had went 18-31 and had 244 yards and 2 touchdowns to send Clemson to 1-3, which is a start that they haven't. It's been a while since Clemson has looked this bad. Also, not in the power rankings, not in the top 25 anymore. So that wraps it up for this edition of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed, episode 65. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment, do all that good stuff, share for others to see since I'm about to end it now. And yeah, I have a vlog out on Monday, hopefully. And then Monday I'll also do my MLB predictions for the playoffs. Either predictions or a preview, but I have some MLB content out on Monday, and I might do a live tomorrow morning as well. That just depends. But I might do a live tomorrow for NXT No Mercy to recap that, since I won't have time to do an actual video. But I hope y'all enjoyed this live, and peace. Wait, I pressed the wrong button. And peace.